As Formula One returned from another brief break in Austin, tensions off the track were brewing as much as the on-track action. The season's technical controversies, especially between McLaren and Red Bull, have only added to the unpredictability and an escalating feud between two of the championship contenders. It all began in Baku, where McLaren found themselves in the spotlight with what's now known as the mini DRS-gate. Oscar Piastri's flexible rear wing caught the attention of both the FIA and rival teams, as it seemed to increase the slot gap for better straight-line speed. McLaren was forced to tweak the design to comply with regulations, and they have been under scrutiny ever since. The situation escalated when, in Singapore, McLaren fired back at Red Bull. They accused the world champions of using an illegal device in their RB20, which allegedly allowed them to adjust the car's floor height during parc fermé conditions, a clear violation of F1 rules. According to McLaren, this device gave Red Bull a significant advantage by modifying the setup in a way that's strictly prohibited once the cars are locked down for the race. The FIA wasted no time addressing the issue, stating, "Any modification to the height of the front of the floor in parc fermé conditions is strictly prohibited by the regulations." McLaren's accusations put Red Bull in a defensive position, but Red Bull refused to back down. Red Bull admitted that such a device existed on their car, but firmly denied any foul play. They insisted the part was inaccessible once the car is fully assembled and ready to race, claiming it couldn't be tampered with during parc fermé. Christian Horner, Red Bull's team principal, dismissed McLaren's accusations as nothing more than a smokescreen, calling it a ploy to divert attention. "There's a bit of moaning from one of our rivals. It's their job to look into it. I feel sometimes it's to distract from perhaps what's going on in your own house," Horner said, implying McLaren's paranoia was getting the better of them. But McLaren CEO Zak Brown wasn't satisfied. Brown has demanded Red Bull's senior leadership, including their mechanics, sign an affidavit stating they had never used the device illegally. Brown pushed for transparency, claiming, "If parc fermé rules have been broken, the penalty needs to be of that magnitude. There must be consequences." In an interview with the Daily Mail, Brown said, "The suggestion in the pit lane from a handful of people is that it has been used in that manner, so the only way to bottom it out is the old-fashioned sign here, stating what has gone on. I know if I was presented with an affidavit and the consequences of not telling the truth were severe, I'd tell the truth." As if the ongoing bib trick allegations weren't enough, McLaren faced further scrutiny from the FIA regarding their rear wing. Several teams, including McLaren, were found to be using rear wings that flexed beyond the allowable limit, prompting a wave of modifications before the United States Grand Prix. The issue first surfaced in Azerbaijan, where McLaren's flexible rear wing design, another iteration of the mini DRS, was noted for exceeding the permitted slot gap. FIA's head of single-seater matters, Nicolas Tombazis, confirmed that McLaren, among others, had to modify their wings to meet updated guidelines following the Singapore GP. "We issued after Singapore some communication about rear wings, saying what we would consider acceptable or not acceptable, and 2 or 3 teams had to make some small tweaks to adjust to that," Tombazis explained. McLaren made these changes across all their rear wings to avoid any further clashes with the FIA, narrowly avoiding a rules breach. A McLaren spokesperson stated, "We have made minor adjustments to all our rear wings since Baku to varying extents to ensure no further issues in this area." This crackdown on flexing wings has affected not just McLaren but several teams, revealing how closely teams push the envelope to find a competitive edge. Had McLaren not complied with the directive, they would have faced sanctions, making this a critical area to watch as the season progresses. With the season nearing its climax, the off-track drama between McLaren and Red Bull is as intense as the racing itself. Zak Brown's demands for affidavits and Red Bull's sharp denials suggest this battle is far from over, and the FIA finds itself in the middle of yet another complex technical dispute. As both teams continue to push the limits of innovation and regulation, the FIA's role becomes even more crucial. Will they step in decisively, or will the teams continue to push the boundaries without clear repercussions? The outcome of these battles, both on and off the track, could have lasting impacts on the championship, and the fallout from these controversies may shape the sport for seasons to come.